The U Sports Report, we're about to take you out of bounds. We have a lot of sports topics to talk about. We got some interesting news on the tennis front. World legend Maria Sharapova recently failed a drug test. The decision was actually made for a 2-year suspension on her behalf by an independent 3-person panel, and that just that makes a lot of fans really sad.
It does. Now, the drug that she tested positive for is called meldonium. Now, meldonium was not on the list of banned substances until July 1st of 2016. So at the very turn of the New Year's, when this became a banned substance, Sharapova has been using this drug for well over 10 years, she says.
Yeah.
It's supposed to help with blood flow in your body. Now, a bit of background on meldonium. Soviet Union soldiers actually used to use this drug in World War II to increase their endurance.
Wow. So, there's obviously reasons why it has recently been made one of the illegal drugs players cannot use. However, many people have said that Sharapova obviously did not intend to cheat. Like Tyler said, she's been using the drug for medical reasons for quite some time. However, it is now an illegal drug, and testing positive has led to a 2-year suspension for her and her career in tennis.
And the argument she's trying to make is that she stopped using it whenever they told her. However, since she's been taking it so long, she says that the drug was still in her system. Now, she is appealing the suspension. We'll see how that shakes out. Personally, I think 2 years is a little bit harsh.
It is. And we see stuff in the NFL and the NBA, like smaller, obviously, things, but cheating even in the MLB leading to a few game suspension, but not necessarily 2 entire years. So like you said, a very harsh suspension.
I mean, the biggest suspension we've seen in the MLB was A-Rod just a couple of years ago when he was suspended for 162 games, which is effectively a full season.
Yeah.
Now, for them to ban Sharapova for 2 years, she's not even going to get back on the tennis court until 2018. She's already nearing the end of the road. Will she be what she was when she comes back? Will she come back?
She's already 29 years old. Like you've said, she's had a long-standing career. A lot of people recognize the name. But I think if she does not able to appeal this suspension and get this at least shortened somewhat, 2 years will make a huge impact on her game, even with a lot of practice and even small matches against family and friends or trainers, whoever. She won't necessarily be the athlete that she's known to be.
Yeah, you're not going to be facing Serena Williams out there on the practice court.
No, absolutely not. And, that just makes it even worse.
Now, getting to some other news, Brock Turner, a Stanford swimmer, was accused and charged with rape. He's faced with a 6-month sentence, which was just recently shortened. He'll likely only serve half of the sentence, Kimberly.
Yeah, his dad, mom, sister, even some of his friends have wrote letters to the judge. He's even wrote a few letters, some of them completely nonsensical, but you do what you got to do. When you're a college athlete, you make mistakes, and you need to hold yourself accountable. I don't really want to talk a whole lot about it, but the public in general is pretty upset, and what he's done is definitely not something that we condone, especially not here at the U Sports Report. That's really all that we can say.
All I got to say is that, I hope he learned his lesson.
Absolutely.
And I hope it never takes place again. Now, moving on, as we mentioned in the first segment, Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe, the legendary player, did pass away. He died at 88. 88. His life was almost as long as his NHL career.
Basically, he played until he was 52 years old. You and I kind of chatted a little bit before the show about how incredibly long of a career that means. And he never really slowed down. His career never really faltered. He seemed to be an outstanding player that entire time.
And the thing that blows my mind the most is that hockey is not baseball. You saw Cal Ripken with the Iron Man streak. Hockey, you're out there, you're getting punished day in, day out, even in practice. The hits come, and they're brutal. Yeah. Especially back in the day when he played, they didn't have all of this, technology and all the padding and everything.
Yeah.
It was just incredible. Mr. Gordie Howe, rest in peace, sir. That was incredible impact that you had on the sport of hockey. Wayne Gretzky tried to model his game after him. So that's how you know that this guy is the real deal.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky's actually had a lot of words to say about the loss of Gordie Howe, someone that he, like you said, modeled his game after. Obviously, no intentions of replacing Mr. Howe, but when you model your game after someone who has played for that long, you know that Wayne Gretzky's good. We recognize the name.
The great one.
And Gordie Howe is just someone that we'll never forget in the game of hockey.
Absolutely. Again, Mr. Gordie Howe, rest in peace. Our condolences and prayers out to all of his family and friends. Now, moving on to the Summer Olympics. going down out in Rio. Several NBA players are opting out of their chance to play for USA Basketball. Concerns about injuries, the Zika virus, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Steph Curry, LaMarcus Aldridge, just a few of the names that will not be wearing the red, white, and blue this summer come late June. How do you feel about that, Kimberly?
You know, when I started seeing a few of these posts, even on social media, you know, Russell Westbrook had backed out of the Olympics, James Harden, Steph Curry, I started to kind of get curious as to why. Like you said, there's plenty of good reasoning behind it. I read one of James Harden's statements saying he hopes he gets the opportunity to play in the future for the Olympics, but this year's just not the time for him. I think it's going to be interesting to see how USA Basketball does, especially with several key players that they were counting on not being part of that team. But it's good for those athletes to really prioritize their health and their families and their futures over just one season of Olympics.
And I think all of these players opting out points to the bigger problem, which is the NBA season schedule. 82 regular season games.
Yeah.
These guys, they get virtually no rest. You know, they play a lot of back-to-backs. Some they even play back-to-back-to-back.
Yeah.
You know, 3 straight nights playing. That's a lot of wear and tear on the tires.
Travel.
Lots of travel. And then, you know, the off season, which is the summer for the NBA, they're going to go down and play more basketball at a very high level competitively in the Olympics. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. And I think if, you know, I think the USA will not, they should not have a problem winning gold down there in Rio, as we've seen them the last few years just dominate at the Olympics. I think we should see more of the same. However, the NBA schedule needs to be shortened so that way we can see the greatest wearing our country's colors representing in front of the world.
It does, and there needs to be some form of management for these guys, someone helping them out with this time, because like you said, 82 regular season games, all the time, all the travel, and it's not an easy sport to play. It's a very, very compromising on your body. We watched LeBron, we've seen Dwayne, we've seen all of them with ice all over their entire bodies, just icing everything up before they go back on the court. It wears down your body very quickly. So these guys expected to play consistently year-round is a lot to ask.
Yeah, and I mean, the NBA season, the regular season is 82 games. So if you get onto the playoffs, there's a potential that you'll be playing 100 games in a season.
Yeah.
And for LeBron James, who's made it to, 5, 6 straight NBA finals?
Yeah.
You know, that's almost 100 games every season that he's playing.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. And for him to keep going at this level, I really don't blame him for sitting out the Olympics.
No, definitely not. It's a very competitive game, a lot of very competitive athletes, and it's just getting harder and harder every year with the number of people who are incredibly talented coming out onto that court every single year and making bigger, better records to break. So it's interesting to see them back out, but for good reason, and I have nothing but respect for their decisions.
So no LeBron James, no Carmelo Anthony, no Dwayne Wade,
Yeah.
no James Harden,
No Steph
Anthony
Curry.
Davis, Steph Curry, Blake Griffin. Who's going to be wearing the red, white, and blue out there?
Hey, Tyler's open this summer. If you guys have enough money for him, I'm sure he would represent USA and do it in pretty impressive fashion.
Just let me come back every Tuesday and Thursday to film. That's all I ask.
Hey, you could film from down there. We'll send a camera down there with you. I'm sure that would be good.
Fair enough. Sounds good to me. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the U Sports Report.